What is going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here to discuss a result that I didn't expect to come, but the Dallas Cowboys, how about them Cowboys, take it to the New Orleans Saints and win it at home on Thursday Night Football, 13-10. Wow. How about them Cowboys? I'm going to discuss it. No Dilly today, unfortunately. You would think that he would be on this recap because this is his Cowboys and this is his team and so on. But no Dilly today, just me. I'm going to be here for about 10 to 15 minutes at the most because I got to study. I didn't even think I would be on the recap, but I did watch the game just in case. So the Cowboys take it to the Saints. The Cowboys defense, I think that's the big storyline coming out of this game. They dominated thoroughly. They dominated the Saints. Even the touchdown that the Saints did score was sort of lucky. It was sort of lucky. And even the drives where the Saints were moving the ball down the field were sort of lucky because the Cowboys were basically keeping them from moving the ball, from punting. And they were allowing them to move the ball down the field because of stupid penalties and unforced errors. And the Dallas Cowboys, I think it's time. We've been searching for, who has been the best defense all year. I know that Chicago has a great debate. Dallas has also been very consistent. And Dallas showed today that they needed that primetime stage to really prove it against a really elite offense. They were able to do that today. They showed up and they performed big. Now, the offense is a different story entirely, which the Cowboys, they had some drives, they had some plays where they looked in sync and they were able to gain a rhythm throughout this game, and the Cowboys were able to move the ball with some efficiency. But then other times, they looked very just lackluster. And I think there's two sides to the story for the Cowboys. Phenomenal defense in holding the Saints to 10 points in winning this game. But then for the Cowboys offense, you would have expected with such a great performance on defense that the Cowboys would have been able to run away with this game, but still they were not. For the Saints, I think this was just one of those games that it was eventually going to happen. I think that obviously the Saints came in, they did not play their best game. Offensively, for sure, did not play their best game. Run game wasn't working. Pass game wasn't working. A lot of credit does go to the Cowboys, as I stated, but a lot of things, just didn't happen for the Saints today. And I think the biggest thing we saw today was what I was saying in the preview. I thought that the Cowboys would be competitive in this game. I thought the game would be close. I did not think the Cowboys would win the game, though. I think the number one thing that happened that I thought needed to happen for the Cowboys was that they needed to start fast, start hot, and maintain the lead. And they were able to get a couple stops early, gain that field goal early on, and play their pace of game that they wanted to play. The Saints weren't able to come out, go down the field, score, and play their pace of play. Once we saw that the Cowboys were able to establish the tone that they wanted to play this game at, they were able to dictate it to Drew Brees, and I think it was easier to move the ball against the Saints defense because they weren't in a situation where they were just pass rushing all day. And then the second thing was that Drew Brees and the Saints offense was caught off guard, and the Cowboys were able to attack them with a number of different blitzes, a number of different stunts up front with their pass rushing. Just overall, the best offensive line in the league, the Saints, did not look like that today. The Cowboys D-line, they dominated. I think Marinelli did a really great job in the different blitzes and schemes that he was able to cook up tonight against Drew Brees and Sean Payton. That's no easy task. And also just the performance from the defensive backs of the Cowboys was fantastic. Very tight coverage all day long. And the linebackers, specifically Vander Esch and Smith, those two guys were free-flowing all over the field. They were able to shut down the run game to the outside, inside. Screen game was non-existent, which is a huge part of stopping the Saints. You need to be able to stop the Saints. And as we saw, I think we saw a little bit of what you need to be able to do on defense to slow down this Saints team. As for, their offense, I do feel like, the Cowboys did some things well, but also the Cowboys, it wasn't great. So we'll talk about all that. Let's go through the statistical leaders, and then I'll get to the chat in a little bit. So 13-10 Cowboys. The game starts off with a field goal, and then the Cowboys come out, boom, 3-and-out right away. Cowboys were able to get the ball right back. And then I believe the Cowboys got slowed down. They punted it back, and then the Saints went boom. I think it was 3-and-out, or maybe two sets of one first down, and then maybe a 3-and-out after that. Like, it was really quick. Like, the first 2 drives, Saints couldn't do anything. They couldn't establish a rhythm in the run game. They couldn't get it going in the passing game. And then boom, the Cowboys come right back down with a touchdown. So they're immediately up 10-0 in the first quarter, which was huge for the rest of this game. And the Cowboys actually didn't score 1 point in the second half, but they didn't need to because their defense played so well. In the third quarter, the Saints get a field goal and then a passing touchdown. It seems like, to Kirkwood from Drew Brees 30 yards out, it seems like the Saints are going to take the momentum from the Cowboys. We've seen this many times from the Cowboys before, where they're up and then they choke, or it's a close game in the end, and then the opposite team's quarterback makes a couple plays and they end up winning the game. That did not end up happening because the Cowboys defense made an interception in the last final 2-minute drive, which was absolutely huge. The offense in the end of it was able to, somewhat move the ball and kill some clock, not necessarily score, but they were able to do a couple of things here and there. And then there's a couple of moments where, Gregory going off are hitting the punter, some pass interference calls. And then in the end of it, they have that pass in the end zone to Amari Cooper, which ends up being a pass interference on the Saints and pretty much icing the game. So the Dallas Cowboys played a good complimentary football game and did enough to beat the Saints. And I think overall, just their defensive performance was super impressive, and that's the biggest thing you need to take away from this game. If they're going to play defense that well and get a little bit more out of their offense, they can be a legitimate threat in the NFC to knock one of these top seeds off. I still am picking the Saints to be that Super Bowl team, because there's going to be losses like this throughout the season. I didn't think they were going to go 15-1. So it does happen. But if the Cowboys are going to be capable of being one of those teams that make the playoffs and then upset a Rams or upset a Saints, they need to be able to play defense like this. And you would like to see a little bit more offense, but from the offense that they got, it was pretty decent. Dak Prescott, 24 for 28, 249, 1 touchdown. That's a very efficient game. Not a lot of big plays. There were some big plays early on down the field to Gallup, I think 40 yards down the field, a couple to Amari Cooper. They made some things in the passing game happen. I thought that one throw to Gallup down the left sideline was probably the best throw he's made all year, to be quite honest with you. But Dak Prescott, in the second half, they solved him. He was holding on to the ball too long. The coverage was a lot better. And Dak was attacking Eli Apple consistently in the first half. They didn't really go to that as much. He played a little bit better, but sacked 7 times in the second half. There was a lot more blitzing. I think the Saints kind of solved what the Cowboys were doing offensively. And that's another weakness of the Cowboys. I know they won this game, but the offensive coaching did not adjust. I know that you're winning the game at halftime, but you need to adjust in the second half somewhat. We saw that happen to the Giants against the Eagles in that game on Sunday, where the Giants were playing great, but they didn't add anything to their game plan in the second half. They didn't add anything that could give them that advantage. And the Eagles were just able to say, hey, they're doing this, that, and this. Then they go back in the halftime, make some adjustments, and that's what the good coaches will do. They'll make their adjustments like Schwartz did in that game. And then in this game, the Saints are able to do that. Allen's able to do that on the defensive side of the ball, and Dak can't get the ball out. He's holding on the ball too long, like typical. 7 sacks. And Saints D-line really came after it. Cam Jordan gave them an opportunity with a strip sack at the end of the game for Drew Brees to make some plays, but Drew Brees was not able to make some plays. And Zeke played pretty well. I thought that Dak made some nice plays running the ball. I think just overall you saw the extra effort come through for the Cowboys in an offensive slugfest sort of game where it was like every yard mattered, and you could clearly see that in this game, which I miss from football entirely. And this game, we got it. I mean, just Dak trying to fight for that first down, or Zeke trying to get that extra inch, or, Cole Beasley struggling to put his arm across the first down marker. It just felt like one of those games where it was every yard, every first down mattered in the end of it. And that was really refreshing to watch, especially with the Saints, who have been a team that are winning every game, 38-34, just circus type of games. So Zeke had 23 carries, 76 yards, but I thought he played well for the most part. It's tough to run against this team. They're the number one rushing defense in the league. He also had 6 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Those were big. I thought he made a lot of big plays in the screen game, and credit to the offensive line for the Cowboys. They've been playing a lot better as of late, and I think their screen blocking has been very big for Zeke and just springing him to make some plays down the field. Amari Cooper, 8 catches, 75 yards, again, leading the way for the Cowboys. But I thought the big story here was that also Michael Gallup contributed with 5 catches and 76 yards. So he was able to contribute as well when Cooper was double teamed. He was able to take advantage of his matchups, which we haven't really seen from anyone outside of Cooper with this receiving core this season. So that was huge for the Cowboys in this game, that another receiver opposite of Cooper was able to take advantage of some of the opportunities. Defensively, for the Cowboys, I thought that the corners, Awuzie was fantastic. I thought that, overall, DeMarcus Lawrence was really good. He had a sacked forced fumble and a huge forced fumble in the game. Tyron Crawford played pretty well up front. I thought that the Cowboys did a good job of pursuing and pushing the pocket in the interior more so than even the edge rush. I thought even though he had a couple bad plays in the game, Gregory did a good job of getting some sort of a speed rush around the corner. Lawrence did the same. Who else? Armstrong was in there for a couple of plays up front. But I thought overall, Crawford, Reed, those guys, the big boys in the middle were able to kind of push the pocket and establish something so that Drew Brees couldn't step up in the pocket and make his infamous throws that he does make. He's so famous for. So then the linebackers, I can't say enough about Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch, just their pursuit in the pass and the run game, especially the screen game. I said it before, I'll say it again. I mean, the Saints screen game's the best in the league. And for them to hold, Kamara and Ingram to some of those plays and even negative gains, that just speaks to their vision and their intelligence and their, pursuit and speed to be able to track those plays down and tackle very well. And there was nothing after the catch for the Saints. And you see those teams, the Saints, very similar to my Patriots. I mean, when you see a defense that's able to take the easy completions away, it makes it that much more difficult for that offense. And a lot of the Saints and Patriots offense is dictated off of, getting the ball to their playmaker, letting them move after the catch, or, getting them in a screen situation with blockers out in front, or, getting it to the running back very quickly. And none of that was happening for the Saints at all. Kamara was going nowhere. Ingram was going nowhere. Michael Thomas, it seemed like every guy that was covering him was on glue. They didn't need to double team him, which I think is something I also need to say about Michael Thomas. I said this on Twitter, I said it many times. I don't think Michael Thomas is an elite receiver. And a lot of people are going to, be all angry at me for saying that. But I think it showed today. I mean, he had a couple of catches in the game, but overall, he had 5 catches for 40 yards. But he wasn't dangerous in this game. He was not being double teamed a lot. Maybe a couple times on third down or in the red zone. That's going to happen. But he is a contested catch guy. He's not going to get a lot of separation. And when you see top-notch corners in this league, they're able to stick with Michael Thomas because he doesn't create a lot of separation. And when Drew Brees' accuracy isn't pinpoint, that means that Michael Thomas isn't going to have a great game. When you see Michael Thomas not have a great game, it's because Drew Brees isn't able to put that ball in a perfect spot for him to catch the ball. He's a lot like Alshon Jeffrey, or, I think he's a worse version of DeAndre Hopkins. Like these sort of players that are really good in contested catch situations, but aren't very good at getting separation. That's just what the difference for me is between Michael Thomas and Julio, Odell, Antonio Brown, Tyreek Hill. I think those players are much better at getting open, while Michael Thomas is amazing at catching the ball anywhere and has great chemistry with Drew Brees, and he's great in the system, but he doesn't get open like that. Awuzie was able to stick with him, and all their corners that they really put on him were able to really be competitive. And Drew Brees, you saw a lot today. He was making passes, but a lot of the coverage was really superb, and the guys were all over him. And the Cowboys actually didn't attack it from more of a zone approach, which they usually play a lot more zone coverage. In this game, I saw a lot more man out there. And I think that's a credit to their confidence in their corners, and not a lot of teams can do that. So I think we see, the teams that have had the most success have been able to play man coverage against the Saints. And I think that's the only way to go, because with Drew Brees and Sean Payton, if you play a lot of zone, you're just going to get destroyed, because they have all the plays in their playbook. They can go 50 pages down and, against whatever zone they need to play against and pick it apart. So you need to just be able to outman them on the outside. And I think that's what the Cowboys were able to do, as well as stop their run game, which didn't allow their play action to come into account. And then, like I said, stop their screen game and all that. And, Kamara had 8 catches, but for 36 yards. Thomas had 5 catches, but for 40 yards. Nothing was there. Drew Brees, 127 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Interception was bad. He was under pressure. He threw the ball basically off his back foot and tried to make a play, but it was intercepted, and there was nobody really around it. So even though he only got sacked 2 times, he was under pressure a lot. He was under duress, and that caused all of his throws to be off the money, and nothing really to work, or for nothing to really be sound for this offense. So overall, I thought Cowboys. I just can't say enough about their defense. And then for the Saints defense, Klein got a sack in the game. They had 7 sacks, of course. Cameron Jordan was phenomenal in the game. Forced fumble, 2 sacks, 3 tackles, 4 assists. Sheldon Rankins was solid in the run game. I do like their linebacker duo. I really like Demario Davis. I did last year. I do this year as well. Always respected him as a Jet, and he's played really well this year. He played another good game. Anzalone, I thought, played pretty well as well. I think the only guy that really had a bad game was Eli Apple. Everybody else, I thought, played very well. Onyamente, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I could be wrong. Sorry. 3 sacks in this game. He had a huge forced fumble, which was just massive for the Saints. But again, they weren't able to capitalize. So yeah, that's the statistics and the playmakers and the big stars of the game. I'm going to get to the chat, and then we'll wind down from there. So let's start off with Ultra, who did give $10 to the chat. So thank you, Ultra. He says, if it's too late, then here it is. Mitch, Chargers, Durkant, Falcons. All righty. I am in for that, and I'm going to send Dylan this link to get his quick thoughts before I go off air. I just saw his message now, so I'm going to send him that real quick. Get it. All right, so I send him the link. We'll see what Dylan has to say. All right, I hope Kevin Durkant's okay with that, because I'm coming with the heat with the Chargers. I'm just putting that out there. Thank you, Ultra, for the $10. And he says, how about them Cowboys? Robot guy is in the chat. Dame says, as a Saints fan, I'm pretty damn upset. Rob says, can Dallas actually get the 3 seed now? I doubt it, but maybe. Raisin Brand says, ref sucked. How do you miss that helmet to helmet? And Beasley was a yard short. Also, wasn't PI on Lattimore? I think it was PI on Lattimore for sure. Helmet to helmet. They missed a clear helmet to helmet in the game. I will give you that. RVD says Dak has still not shown that he's capable of taking over a game. My dad is funny because, I haven't really been a Cowboys guy. Dylan's coming in here. He's in the house. But I haven't been a Cowboys guy as much since Romo retired. And because I was a big Romo guy, I really liked the Cowboys at one point there. For a couple of years. And of course, my dad is a Cowboys fan. And he texted me after the game. He was really happy about the win, but he was basically saying, like, if Romo was the quarterback, they would have won by 14. And I think that's the only downside for the Cowboys fans in this game, is if you really watched this game and paid attention, quite honestly, this game should have been probably like 24 to 10 instead of 13 to 10. So that's really the only downside. But Dylan, you're back.
Yes, sir.
What's
Yes,
going
sir.
on, bro? You got the two. You're a little fuzzy there. Are you on are you on your phone?
I'm on my phone, yeah.
Okay. What's going on? How'd you like that win? How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys, baby? You know what? I was at work, all right? So before anybody gets on to me about comments I'm about to say, I did not watch the game. This is a terrible night to have this game happen. But, I was excited. I said I'm going to pick against the Cowboys because that's what I had to do. I had to do that for Pick'em. But I am now the Cowboys have won 3 games that I had picked against them, and they're the only times that I picked against them. So I'm going to keep that going.
Dilly, should you just miss every game from now on?
I'm just gonna miss it. Not every game. Every Cowboys game, I'm gonna keep missing. I'm just gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna pick against them. I was watching. I actually got to watch like the last 3 minutes of the game. I was able to put it on. Work was like, all right, this is a big deal. We need to get this done. I saw the fumble. I'm like, Dak, bro, you're holding it on for 5 minutes too long. Stop doing that. It's pissing me off. It's going to lose us games. But then Jordan Lewis, first career interception. What a better time. There's no better time to get that first pick than right there and then help us get the victory. I mean, I'm just happy. I'm excited. This is a big game. This is a game that I wanted us to win, but in no confidence that I have, especially after 3-5 4 weeks ago. You guys remember when I came on here Monday Night Football? I said this is disgraceful. What are we doing? What's the issue? And then we come in. We've been 4 straight. I can't say much. I mean, I can't be happier about it. Defense stepping up. Linebackers, I can't say anything about Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch that I haven't said already. Leighton Vander Esch was Defensive Rookie of the Month. He deserved it. I heard he played great today. He's always been great this season. He knows how to make plays, and the team as a whole went through on defense. Offensively, seeing 13 points, especially after they scored 10 in the first, it's kind of upsetting. It's not very good. But if you can beat a team that was the second highest scoring team in NFL history in terms of season points per game, and you hold them to 10 points, that's a win. That is a big dub. You got to take that dub and run with it, even if the offense doesn't go. Next week, you got to build on it. They got to build on the fact that they didn't do much on offense. But
knowing the Cowboys, they'll come out next week and lose 31-0.
They'll lose. I don't even know who we play next week. But this is a great team win. This is a huge confidence booster. It shows that we can hang with the best, or at least do something that our defense is winning games, which I think is the biggest thing that you can say from the last couple of teams that we've seen the Cowboys be dominant in. They haven't had a really great defense. This is the first time I could say that we've had a very solid defense, and it's helping us win football games at the right moments at the right time. And now I feel a lot better about Monday Night Football's matchup because now we won't be tied for first place in the NFC East no matter what. So I'm thankful for that, and I'm excited. Cowboys fan. And then, yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right, thanks, Dilly.
No problem.
What do you think Stephen A. has to say about this?
Oh, I want you know what? I'm not trying to be cocky about anything, but I want Stephen A. to shove it tomorrow. I want him to be roasted on national television tomorrow. I will stay home and watch that because he was being pompous the whole time. He can never give the Cowboys credit, and I want to hear what he says tomorrow. Is he going to be like, okay, they got me, they won, or is he going to try to attack this team once again? That's the question. I want to see that.
Dilly.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear the news?
What news?
I will be the Chargers.
I did. I saw that.
And will be the Atlanta Falcons.
It's interesting. Ultra sent you that, right?
Yes, and he's choosing Durkant to be his team. So how do you feel about that? I don't know. I feel like I'm the underdog.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, ooh, that's tough. But he did give you he gave you a better offense. He gave you Phillip Rivers. He gave you Melvin Gordon. He gave you Keenan Allen. I mean, I in the better defense.
Now. No excuses.
No excuses. If you lose, it's gay. You're done. You're DUNE, bro. That's not good.
I'm not losing. All right. Sportlight.
You can't lose.
Says it was calls that should have been called, but that was a bad game from both teams. No touchdowns in the second half. I thought that was an entertaining game. I know you modern NFL fans out there are going to say that it wasn't a very great game because it wasn't 300 to 295.
Guys,
but I thought
we just got a 54-51 game. We got a 54-51 game 2 weeks ago. We can cool our heads and have a defensive game, We can have that. We can afford that.
Turtle
All right,
says
I'm
the
gonna get.
Saints are still the best team in the NFL.
Turtle's been hating on the Discord chat. I'm gonna head out because I have 4% battery on my phone. But peace out, guys. Cowboys win.
All right. I would agree, but I think we did see that the Saints, obviously, to quote Kevin Olenek, the Saints can be beat, and that there is somewhat of a game plan, so to speak, to take the Saints out. As I think Dylan left, but his screen is still up here, so I'm just going to eject him. All right. Okay. So let's go back to the chat. And King Savage says, it's still going to be who dat. We still 10-2, 5-1 on the road. RVD says the refs tonight should not get to work a playoff game. Wow. Apparently they're the most experienced in the entire NFL. So where was Traquan Smith? I'm sick, man. I can't keep solid food down. I don't think anybody was there for the Saints offense. If you had Kamara, if you had Ingram, if you had Michael Thomas, if you had Drew Brees, they were all rather invisible or they did not perform. So to really say that the second or third receiver on the Saints was, where was he? I mean, he was with the rest of the guys. He didn't show up. Robot Guy says, them boys really surprised me tonight. Robot Guy now agrees with me that Mahomes is MVP now. Eraser says, Sean Payton is a something. Love watching them lose. Ultra says, Rams, number 1. Chiefs, number 2. Patriots, number 3. Saints, number 4. Wow. And he even goes up to 15 with the Bears at number 5, Chargers at number 6, Texans at number 7, Steelers at number 8, Seahawks at number 9, Cowboys at number 10, Vikings at number 11, Colts at 12, Ravens at 13, Panthers at 14, and Titans at 15. And I'm shocked he still does not have Atlanta in there because he is an Atlanta fan and he usually puts them in there. But I don't know, man. I do think after watching this game that the Rams will take a few things away from this game. And this, I think, was a big game for Sean McVay to take some notes and for the Rams in general. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do end up playing a second time, if the Rams do take some things that the Cowboys did away from this game and try and utilize that. We'll see. Again, I still don't agree with the Chiefs and Patriots, but that's just me. After that, I still think I would put the Saints number 1. I think I would still have the Steelers at number 5 personally. And other than that, I think I would agree. I think I would go Steelers, Chargers, Texans, Seahawks, Cowboys, Vikings, Colts. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe the Panthers ahead of the Ravens, but it's close. And then that's a pretty good list though. Ultra says Saints are still my Super Bowl pick. I assume Mitch is also sticking. Yes, I'm still sticking with it. But of course, this does hurt the confidence. But just like I say when my Patriots lose, it's one game. They'll bounce back. The Saints are fraud, says Predator. So he doesn't quite believe in that. Mahomes is MVP, says Go Chiefs. I wonder why he believes in that. Turtle says, oh, he was just commenting on something else. What else? Chiefs would destroy the Cowboys, says Predator. The Chiefs defense is total ass. The Saints defense is better. I do think that I said this in the preview. I do think that the Cowboys specifically matched up very well with the Saints. It could be just a matchup thing, and I don't know how the Chiefs offense would fare against the Cowboys, but I think you need to legitimately say that the Cowboys, if they're not the best defense, they're probably second. What's going on, Mr. Wong? Trevor is in the chat. He says Cowboys aren't contenders still. Pretty clear they'd have no chance against any of these other playoff teams, especially on the road. It's tough to say after they get this win. I think if they play defense like this, they can beat any team. They just need to elevate their offense. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. What's going on, Waterboy Report? Luca, what's going on? Where's some last comments here? Apparently, Goff is better than Michael Vick in his prime, according to Go Lakers. Predator says Goff is better than Blake. I would say that is true. What else? A lot of Goff is better than people. Okay, guys. I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, last question. RVD says, do you think Dak could be fixed with a better coach? I don't know if he could be fixed per se, but I think he could be improved. I'll answer it that way, and that's how I'm going to end off this recap and reaction to Cowboys. How about them Cowboys defeating the New Orleans Saints here on Thursday Night Football? Cowboys, legitimate threat in the playoffs potentially as one of those dark horse teams with a defense like this, playing the way they are with their momentum. I think they can potentially pick up some victories in the playoffs, but we'll have to see. As for Saints fans, don't worry about it too much. It's just one loss. Don't worry about it. You weren't going to go 15-1 according to me, so don't worry about it at all. But I think we need to see how the Saints bounce back, and we need to see how the other teams across the league play the Saints going forward. But that's all I got to say. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more NFL, and we'll see you for fantasy football tomorrow or Saturday. One of these days, I will put a fantasy start and sit 'em out there. And also on Sunday, we have a live reaction to Patriots and Vikings, and potentially also Sunday Night Football, Chargers and Steelers. We'll see about that one, but for sure, Vikings and Patriots. And also, tomorrow night, I play Kevin Durkant in game number 3. Game number 3, baby. I'm going to take it as the Chargers over the Falcons. I hope you guys enjoyed. From Mitch, peace out.